In this video, we are going to look at the issue of sustaining access to resources. This is obviously a very important issue because after all the hard work has been done and resources have begun to flow into your organization, the last thing you want is to be taken back to the beginning. In fact, it can get worse because when things fall apart after having accessed resources, it becomes even harder to attract social investors because there might be a past record of maybe resources not having been utilized well. So it is important that when we make those important forward steps, we do not lose ground and begin to struggle again. What are some of the things that we need to keep in mind as we look at sustaining access to resources? Number one there, I refer to making the right initial connections. This is important because it is possible to quickly get money, but to fail to sustain access to those resources because the ways in which the connection was made was not such that it can be sustained. I'll give you examples. If you mislead funders and you manage to get access to resources, eventually they will find out that information they received was not very accurate, and that will have a serious negative effect once the funding agreement comes to an end. Okay. Another could be that you overstate your abilities, and when you're given an opportunity to implement, you begin to struggle. So making the right connections on a firm basis where what you've communicated to them is actually accurate, the capacity that you have projected is that which you can actually utilize to implement, so that you are managing expectations. That is the one thing that you need to keep in mind. So rather than rushing to access resources, make important forward steps that will not eventually have to be retraced. Number two, it is about maintaining and even raising performance standards. Again, this can be a challenge. Once resources have been accessed, it's possible to relax. And once in an institution people begin to relax, then performance standards go down. And the funders will notice that and they talk to each other. You will not get more funding from the same investor. And also because they talk to each other, you may not access resources from others. So utilize the resources that you have accessed to now address issues you couldn't have addressed before you had access to those resources. Number three there is keeping vital connections oiled. It is important not to get funding and to run. Make sure that even as you implement, go beyond the minimum reporting requirements. Keep the current resource providers informed of what you are doing, the challenges you are facing, how you are learning, how you are growing, and how things are improving. But also much more than that, use the current resources with those particular funders to become visible to other prospective funders. So you may have relationships with other prospective funders, but by leveraging on the existing funding, you can actually improve those other relationships and bring them to a level where in the near future, they too will be able to invest in your organization. Okay. And so I mentioned there that ride on existing resources to leverage your reach. Okay. Ride on existing resources to engage stakeholders that you may not have previously engaged.